Hello everyone, we're back here on our Facebook Live and we're saying hi from London for now. And tonight we're going to talk about something very interesting. Where do you spend your time, energy and money? Which is a massive 3 topics in one. So let's start with probably
Good evening.
Exactly. Yeah. Good evening.
I haven't said a word. Good evening.
Sorry about that. We're into the technical mode. So tonight's topic, right? 3 big words: time, energy, money. Which one would be the most important for you?
I think it's there are 3 things that you should take into account with most, or if not all, decisions. I think the most important thing is not mentioned in there is health, because
That's right.
without your health, we don't have a lot. So your health is really important, but that time, energy, money even has an impact on your health. So I would say time, energy, money, they're in that order for a reason, because time, away from health, time is the most precious thing that we have outside of health, I think, because we can't buy any more time. You know, we're born and we die and everything in between. And it's funny, I used to compete as a fighter, and I would have a period of time to prepare for the fight. And normally it would be about a 12-week camp. And I remember like it was yesterday, bearing in mind my last fight was 2008. Wow, where does time go? But I used to use Excel spreadsheets to map out my training. 12 weeks camp, 6 days a week training, and it would just fly. Before I knew it, I was in the changing room and they were checking my reps and signing the reps, and the gloves were going on, and you had that 15 minutes before you go to the ring. And having done that for a long time, it really made me aware of time and how quickly time flies. And for all of us, if we set ourselves a task and a goal, time just goes. You wake up and you're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then you're gone. So time.
Many people would just say that it would be money because that's the priority, but a lot of us take for granted time and health because we have it. Until we don't have it, then is a big wake-up call, right? When you lose your health and when it's
or you lose people that you love, and you realise that money can't bring them back. Sometimes I've known uber rich people who are diagnosed with an illness, or they have family members who have an illness, and all the money in the world can't change it. So yeah, but that's not to say that money's not important. Money's very important, and it's nice to earn money and have money, and but where do we spend our...
But time, which you mentioned, which is the priority, is very difficult to manage. It's very difficult to get organized. How, you coach many people privately and companies, and you helped a lot of businesses, so probably help them to have a better time management. Can you just give a secret?
There's no secret. I think
success.
I think first and foremost, and success and fulfillment, 2 very different things. But I think there's first and foremost is awareness, being aware of where you're spending your time, being aware of when you're spending your energy, and being aware of where you're spending your money. And so, outside of being an actor, when we don't have the luxury of being on a film or a TV project all the time. We can be months without even an audition, or we can be months without even being on a project. So where do we spend our time? Well, we have bills to pay, so we work, we graft, I'm not, again, I think I've said it before, I'm not a big believer of the word hustle, even though I do hustle, but you graft, you focus on stuff, and one of the things I do is I coach physically and I coach psychologically. So sometimes when I work with an individual or a group, making them aware of where they're spending their time. It's interesting how so many people say they have no time.
Yeah, tell me about that. How do you wake them up?
But there's lots of well, first of all, it's the awareness of where are you spending your time. How much time are you spending sleeping? Some people tell me, I need 8 hours, I need 10 hours. Do you really? But hey, that's your thing. And the second is, I have no time. When I am awake, I have no time. Okay. But the other day, prime example, I asked someone was giving me that same speech, and I said, can I have a look at your phone? Why? Let me have a look at your phone. Can you open it for me? Boom, can I? And I just go to their settings, and I go to their screen time, and you're spending over 4 hours a day on social media. There you go. I can give you 4 hours back a day.
That's a lot. Take a deep breath. 4 hours.
4 hours a day, what can you do? Okay, let's just take an hour of that. An hour a day, you could learn an instrument, you could learn a language, you could learn quantum physics. I mean, there are ways to claw back time. People say, well, I multitask. I've got the TV on and I'm on my phone, and you're not really present, are you?
But now everybody's on their phone, even when you talk to people.
Yeah, well, that's an awareness too, where you're spending your time. How many, I don't know, people out there, how many times have you almost run somebody over because they walk into the road on their phone? And
cross the road with reading the phone, messaging.
And then look at you like you're a complete nutcase. And here we are spending time on our phone. But I made a conscious choice many years ago to allow myself 20 minutes a day on social media. And that changes, obviously, if we're doing things like this. But this is something that's just a given. It's like, hopefully by sharing some of these experiences you add value to people, and they're able to take some of these, even if they get one thing, like whenever I go to a workshop or a course, if I come out with one thing, I'm generally quite happy because I add that to my kind of library of tools that I can use as a human being, as an actor. So
time management,
so being aware of where you're spending your time, and obviously depending on what it is you want to do, if you're an employee and you work for a company. I had lunch with somebody not too long ago, and they were talking to me about having to employ more people because they just don't have enough hands on deck to get the job done. And this is a business I know really well. And so while we were sitting there, I got him to check out what the staff were doing while we were having lunch, and they were all on social media.
Well, first of all, how do you check that? For those of you who have companies out there,
I'm not saying you should spy and stuff.
But there is a specific software which make you aware.
There are companies who can put stuff onto in-house computers that can see where people are spending their time, but also just the fact that they follow each other on social media. You can see that people are online. And it's that question: do you really need? My dad said to me a long time ago. He said that when you take a job, if you're not focused on the job and doing the job whilst you're in the job, it's theft. And again, I'm not putting this on people out there because I appreciate there are things that have to happen on a daily, weekly basis, but it's again just being aware of where you're spending your time. So if I'm paid to do a job, I should possibly be doing the job. But time as a whole is really important because we're not getting any more time. And if there are things that you really want to do, there are things I really want to do, things you really want to do, we have to be clear about where we spend our time, because those things won't happen.
If you don't do them.
No, if you don't do them. And there's no...
have a plan.
We're adults. No one's going to come and say, hey, we're not kids anymore. Hey, you need to do this. You need to... no one's going to come. Nobody's going to come. You just got to do it. You'll see.
How do you push yourself to do it?
I'm a big believer in kind of mapping out your day. I'm a big believer at looking at your day, your week, and just mapping in there. So
have a list of things you have to do daily?
A schedule. So I put in, for instance, training. My physical training is really important to me. So I put in, time allocation for going to the gym, and I work out what I'm going to do that week, whether it's martial arts, weapons training, or physical training, whatever it is. Unless I'm working for, to prepare for a specific project, it's kind of just like general maintenance and staying well, good quality of life. And then if I'm reading a book or reading a script or stuff like that, I just map in some time to work on my craft on a daily, weekly basis. I see my coach every week, which I think is really important.
You wake up very early as well.
Well, I try to get myself up early, and
go late to bed.
Yeah, sometimes, and have
because you're writing.
Have a nap sometimes, but sometimes if you're working on something, it has to get done. No one's going to write it for you, so it's just mapping out time management, right? Mapping out your day and your week. So, but that's something we can all control. That's something we can look at our day and go, okay, You know, I spent years on 5 and 6 hours a night sleep, and some people can't do that.
Tell us about that thing when you had a speech at university, and they told you, no, you have to sleep 8 hours because 6 hours will not achieve anything.
Yeah,
when you were arguing that.
Well, I wasn't arguing. It was just interesting that somebody had a point of view who was giving a lecture on sleep, and that you have to have a minimum of 8 hours. You know, otherwise you'll never achieve anything. You know, as a kind of athlete. I was a champion fighter living on 5 to 6 hours a night sleep for over a decade. So I beg to differ. I would have power naps during the day, like 20 minutes, half an hour, but I didn't have the luxury of being able to sleep. So I was doing 3 jobs. You know, kickboxing, for anybody out there who knows anything about kickboxing, there's no money in the sport. There wasn't when I was competing. And so to fund your career, I had to do a number of jobs. You know, I was 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, cleaning the scum lines of swimming pools. I did multiple jobs, door work. I was a caster of precious metal. I was melting jewellery and making jewellery. I worked in clothes shops. I worked for designers. I just, I juggled and hustled, and I trained 2 to 3 times a day. Some weeks, in some weeks, depending on what my day was for training. So you have to find that time, and I've got 24 hours in a day, and I have to utilise every second of every minute of every hour of that day. And so there was, having 8 to 10 hours, nice, but it wasn't in my diary. There was no allocation for it. About once a week I'd sleep for about 8 hours on a Saturday night. So like Sunday was always my rest day.
It's probably you didn't know that you have to have that limit. Like if somebody tells you no, you have to have 8 hours a day, it's kind of they suggesting you that if you'll sleep less than 8 hours, you will not be capable of being productive enough. So, because nobody told you ever, like when you were young, all this, till that conference at university.
Yeah, I think the mind and the body are very powerful things, and I think that we're capable of far more than we're led to believe. Or if you look at the kind of masses, and also we like to be talked out of things, especially if it requires energy, effort, which is our next.
Yes,
part.
our next. The last one about like time. I wanted to ask, how do you? So you were very busy, you were sleeping 6 hours a day, you were very productive, but for those of us who have more time, who sleep more, and like, how do you get being productive in 1 hour rather than staying watching your screen for 5 hours and not, for example, I have to write something and I'm just not productive enough. How do you make yourself more productive and make it consistent?
It's a choice. I mean, there's different. I mean, if you want, I'm going to be creative in this next hour. I'm going to come up with a new script, a new story, and it doesn't work.
And I'm going to write it down, and it's going to be a bestseller.
Certainly doesn't work like that for me. I mean, creativity and imagination. That it comes sometimes at the most strangest times. That you just get this kind of like urge and flow to need to write, and you just write. Like last night, I was working till nearly 1 a.m, and I had to be up by 6 a.m. So, but because I was in a flow, so I just wanted to get it out of my head and onto the page. I think that part of that comes into allocating time for things to do stuff, especially like the stuff we don't want to do, like the admin around, like the bills that we have to pay, the household kind of admin that has to be done on a weekly or monthly, the calls you have to make, and the insurance is coming up, or or you've got to look at changing something, and it's going to require you to talk to somebody or look at different options, and all those sorts of things. Is just like
time consuming.
Want to spend time doing? Is it the best use of my time? But actually, and I think this is a fact. Indecision, not taking action, creates worry. It creates stress. I've seen it in so many people, and actually by taking action and mapping these things out, it's like liberating. It's like you feel free because you just get on with stuff and you get it done. Allowing time to be creative. Well, yeah, I'm going to put 3 hours in there. In that 3 hours, I'm going to write a best-selling novel. I mean, the reality is, you might sit there for 3 hours looking at the screen. I don't know how that works, but there are some things you can map out. You can map out your physical training. You can map out working on whatever it is you're trying to, evolve and expand in. I want to learn to play the guitar. Well, just play it 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes a day.
Just take action and push yourself. Like yesterday, I had to do admin calls, as you mentioned, which are quite boring. But once I did it, took them off my to-do list, I felt so energized suddenly. I didn't want a nap. I felt, I can do it. I can do more stuff. Let's start a new book. It's like, I took that off the list. So that was helpful. The action.
And in that time as well, make time to read. I mean, reading is really important. I don't read as much as I should. I used to read 1 to 3 books a week. Predominantly how I educated myself, because I didn't really get much of an education from school. I left school at 15. So I just read and watched loads of documentaries and loads of things like TED Talks and stuff. You know, spend time doing that. I mean, wow, you can really grow, you know, and expand your universe by, you know, immersing yourself in content. Read stuff, you know, get books, consume them rather than social media, and then pass them on, and then get to the next one and read it. You know, try and allocate half an hour a day to read. I think that's just, you know, again, it's just an idea.
Yeah, an amazing book you suggested. You actually gifted it to me, and I just started reading it. Is A Big Magic, which is about creativity. So if you guys want to check it out, it's really great book.
That is about creativity. Yes, yeah. Great book. Really great book.
And how to explore creativity, be more productive with it, how to just do it. And regarding the TED Talks and people who are inspiring us, which is related to what we're talking now, would be like the 5-second rule, which Mel Robbins always mentions.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that it's actually less than that. I think it's 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1, go.
But for those who don't know, just explain.
She talks about, you know, when you need to do something, like you're in bed in the morning and you know need to get up and get on with your day, but you kind of put the alarm on snooze and sleep for another 20 minutes, half an hour. In that moment, she says basically 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up, go. I'm more of a 3, 2, 1, like literally I'm like 3, 2, 1, up. Because if I don't, I'll lie there for 20 minutes, half an hour, and that's fine every now and again. But to do it every day, half an hour a day that I lose in bed, I'm just not getting on with the other stuff that I really want to be getting on with, and you know, things that have a big impact on my life. You know, like how nice it is to have an hour extra a day to spend with somebody you love or friends, or you know, or I could just snooze in bed. I mean, you know, these things are all a choice, and you know, you can talk about time for us, but we, you know, the reality is we're not getting any more time.
No,
we can't buy any more time. From the moment we're born, it's ticking down, and I think it's really important to acknowledge and be aware of that. And time, as we, you know, if you just sit there for a minute and think, like it's today, and how quick has this Wednesday come about since the last Wednesday, and what have I done in that time to, you know, to grow myself, to help other people. You know, you can just look at things like that. So it's to value time and to you know, utilize it as much as possible, and take time out as well. It's really important. Sometimes just stop. Sometimes you need to have time out, but not too much time out.
And talking about quality of life and spending quality time gets us to energy. Right?
Energy,
and
yeah.
Being productive and being consistent with your productivity is also energy. So what did you suggest? Well, first of all, there is a lot of talk about being positive these days. Being positive and having positive energy, and you're not positive enough, or it's like, is it even real to be always positive?
No, I don't think so.
This kind of concept that we discovered in LA, mainly for me at least. I discovered it in LA, which I love. I love all these positive things, but it's not. I don't think it's real to just be okay. I'm positive, it's like a robot. You gotta have lows and. Well,
I think you just have to be. You acknowledge, you know, how you're feeling. And some of that stuff is, you know, everything's driven from within. I think we decide, you know, we make choices. Like I can choose just to be a good human being, or I can choose to be an arsehole. Sorry to put it bluntly, but you know, it's a choice. I can choose to have a positive, you know, impact on other people, or I can choose to have a negative impact on other people. You know, so you know, they're all choices, but am I going to feel amazing every minute of every day, or every, you know, am I going to have down? Of course I am. You're going to have down times. There are things that are just out of your control. So, you know, somebody gets ill, somebody dies, you know, you lose something, or, you know, and it's going to have an impact on you, and so it should, because otherwise you're not human, right? But what we can do is we can, you know, we can't control the events, but we can certainly control what they mean to us, and how we move forwards, you know, how we respond to it and how we move forwards. And that's, you know, something I've learned over the years, and something I kind of try and help other people understand. But energy, you know, other negative energy can have a massive impact on you. So my take on it is that the positive can never bring the negative up. It's very hard for the positive to bring the negative up. So if someone's really negative all the time, and you know, you're constantly trying to lift them, there's a cost to you. So
it's sucking your energy.
It sucks
like
your
a
energy,
vampire.
and you have to. I think you have to at some point remove yourself from that negativity. So you know, and these things come in all shapes and forms. You know, I remember I used to go to a coffee shop that they did good coffee, but the environment was terrible. They didn't care I was in there, spending my time and money in there. They just, it was so rude, but it was convenient, and I liked the coffee, but everything else sucked. And then I started going to a new coffee shop that opened not too far away. I started going to this new coffee shop, and it changed my morning. It was really interesting, and I realised that removing myself from that negative environment had a massive impact on me. So, you know, relationships aren't just about, you know, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, brother, sister. It's also, I believe, the person that cuts your hair, the relationship you have with the person that cuts your hair, the place you go and have your nails done, you know, the doctor you may go to, you know, the people that we come into contact with every day. Someone in the supermarket, we were talking about being in the queue in LA in a supermarket, and there was a guy, he looked like he was having a hard time, possibly homeless, but he was in queue to buy something, and this woman behind him chose to just target him and, you know, express that she felt that his energy was affecting her, and, you know, and that he needed to remove himself from her and the premises so that she could feel better. And
which was so annoying
and unnecessary.
Yeah.
And doesn't that have an impact on you? Of course it does.
I would say that lady had a bad energy rather than him.
Yeah, he was no problem to anybody. He was probably quite excited that he was in that queue to buy something he probably really liked and was looking forward to purchasing it and eating it. And so yes, it's being aware of those things and removing yourself from them, you know. So yeah, don't go to that coffee shop, you know. Don't support things that aren't, you know, lifting you. And
you'll feel it. Yeah, you'll be the one feeling who is the person lifting you up, or what's the coffee shop, or what's the your colleagues that actually gives you good advice, lifts you up, rather than people who you feel like when you get back home after a meeting or something, you feel like really heavy. It's like your heart will tell you, your instinct will tell you who you want to remove from your close circle of people.
I'm actually just reading some of the comments. So there's a really good comment, you know, hello Peter Hart. I'm so glad that you're joining in, my man. It's
Hi,
you know,
Peter.
we must catch up at some point. But yeah, spending a lot of time on social media. If you're going to be on Facebook or Twitter, etc., use it as a tool, not just browsing. It's really easy to just pick up, you know, spend time on Facebook and then go to Instagram and then go to Twitter and then go to, you know, Snapchat or whatever it is you're using, or TikTok or whatever it is you're going on. You know, hours and hours can pass, and you have to. What have you done with your time, and what have you done with your energy, your effort? You know, what are you going to get back from that? And more I'm interested in, there's so many people just selling to you, you know, like it's either subliminal, subconscious or conscious selling. It's like hard sell, soft sell, but they're trying to sell to you. And there's the one thing I have to say about this. This is just about giving, not selling. I'm not here to sell anything to anybody. We've just talked so much over the time that we've known each other, and we just decided that every now and again we should put these some of our conversations. So we don't have a script, you know, we sort of talked about possible, you know, it's like there's three things: time, energy, money, and obviously health is in there because that's so important. But we'll just have a live discussion, a live sort of debate, and we'll just, whatever comes of it, will come of it. And then hopefully there's some value in there for you out there. But it's not like, hey, and then I'll sign up to my course. That's next week.
It's not.
But be conscious of that as well, because, you know, I run workshops sometimes, and again, I'm not plugging myself, but one of my first questions when I go into, like, you know, 20 faces in front of me, and one of the questions I ask is, can I just ask what you know, of everybody that's sitting here in front of me, how many of you checked me out before you booked on this course?
And not many.
Yeah, you've been there, you've seen it.
I think 2 or 3 people Googled your name and your work So they invested in somebody without knowing who you actually are.
They gave their time, their energy, and their money to an unknown. They hadn't even taken time, just because somebody said, "Oh, this guy's really good, you should go to his workshop."
Well, in your case, they were lucky because you are
They
good.
were so lucky. But
imagine there are so many people out there who just invent these courses and workshops, and they're not legit, and you sign up just because Google advertise it to you or something.
Yeah, or you get things like people will share stuff on social media without even reading it themselves. You know, things around drugs or, you know, politics or whatever, and it's not true. It's like false news, fake news, and they just see it. Oh, I get angry. It's a headline. I can't believe it. I'm going to share it with everybody so everybody else knows. And 9 times out of 10, it's not even real. But people out there who do this know that. But that goes out to millions of people, and like sheep, we just pass it around, and then we feel informed. We're informed and we're angry because this is going on, but it's not real. So, you know, spending time to look beneath the headline, you know, look at the content, you know, look at where you're spending your time, your energy, who is the source, you know, who you spending your 2, 4, 6 a whole day, you know, what value may there be, you know, with me giving my time, energy, my money. I you know, this is something I've kind of thought about, I've been kind of utilising for years. So whenever I look at stuff, these 3 things pop up straight away. Is this worth my time, my energy, and my money? And it's weird, but it kind of works, and it makes it makes me make better decisions. So, you know, as an actor, I spent years doing independent films, from like being an extra, tiny roles, to being a supporting role, to becoming a leading man, and then just literally getting, the last couple of years, being offered the lead in an independent film with no money. Initially I was just excited to be part of the project because it's a film, I'm going to be in it, but now I'm in a space where I'm not interested in just doing anything. I'd rather not work for a year and focus my time, my energy on doing the stuff that I really feel is going to elevate my career, and not just tie me up again in a film that may never see the light of day. Those days are done. But it takes courage. It takes courage, because there are many days where I think, what am I doing? I've not been on a film for a month or 2 months or 3 months or 6 months. But I'm still working. I'm still putting my time, energy, my money into my craft. I'm still...
And in your own projects.
Yeah, and the same for you. You're exactly the same, you know.
But for many people who just decide, you know, like, I'm not going to work for that company because it's upsetting me, because I spent there 5 or 10 years and I'm not going anywhere. So they go on it takes a lot of courage to just go on the side, open their own, or follow their own idea, and just take some time off to develop that thing. It takes balls.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. If you have an idea, or there's something you really want to do, you know, make time for it. You know, put your energy and your effort into it, and you know, and invest in it. Invest in yourself, because you know, it's the best and only, I think, the best way and only way to make the things that you want happen. Because I think by investing in yourself, you become more attractive for other people to invest in you, as opposed to just taking an idea around and being ready to invest in your time, your energy, you know, and maybe some of your money when they're willing to invest in it.
You have to be the one who believes first and invest as much as you can. Otherwise, I listened to a lot of business people recently, and many of them say the same thing. They pitch their idea, like, for very successful people, and at the beginning of their career, they pitched their idea and people just they didn't even know what this guy's talking about, but they invested because they saw them as being so passionate about it. They said a lot of investors said, I just knew he's gonna make it no matter what, because he was so clear and passionate, and I didn't even know what he was talking about. I just invested in him. So rather than his idea, they just saw that light and passion, and they invested in the person.
They actually invested in the person, yeah. They invested in the person. But I'm sure, I hope they did some due diligence on the way, because, you know, there can be passionate people but no follow through. It can be passionate in the moment but no action. So,
well, this particular guy is Bill Gross. He did very well.
Okay. He did extremely well. Yeah, so, you know, time and energy.
And money.
And now money.
How about money? Well,
Well, money is very important, but you know, I've had the luxury of working with billionaires. I've been flown to private islands. I've been in the company of multi-millionaires and billionaires over the space of my career, and I've met some of the most wonderful and happiest people, and I've met some of the most unhappy and miserable people. And it's interesting because money doesn't buy happiness. There's that saying, but it doesn't buy happiness. And you know, it's really important to have money, and it's important to, I think, to pay your way. You know, I don't sit around doing nothing while I wait for the next acting job, nor do you. You find ways to make a living, to keep your foot in the game. But you know, if I made $1 million tomorrow, I promise you it wouldn't have a huge impact on me. In the sense, I would be grateful, and to be grateful is very important. But I would have earned it. So, and it wouldn't have an impact on my personality. I would be, how I would utilise that money would be probably very different to some other people. It could easy come, easy go, or come quick, go quick. But is it going to have an impact on how I feel? Yeah, in the short term, I probably feel excited and stuff. But it's not going to bring happiness in the long term.
And what is the best investment a person can do with their money? Not talking about millions, just daily investment.
Well, you should always invest in yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about physical things, and I'm more a big believer that property is always a good place to invest if you buy it right.
So first invest in yourself and your growth.
Always.
and then research where you can invest your savings and save. By the way, don't become just a mass consumer. Save and research something exciting where you can invest, but you gotta invest your time and energy to find that exciting thing and exciting idea, because otherwise if you're not informed you'll just lose your savings.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, because
we both love real estate, right?
Yeah.
But it's like I can't go tomorrow and buy a house because, for example, I have no idea what's going on in the UK and the market here, so I have to do a massive research before I even meet with a bank and talk about mortgages and stuff. So watch programs, read the law, and people who are more informed than you, experts. So just train yourself. Tomorrow we're gonna do a workshop.
We are doing a workshop.
We're taking about real estate just because we love it, so why not? But yeah, you gotta invest your time before investing your money. Invest your time in things.
Your energy and your money. And ask yourself that question when you're making decisions around things. Ask yourself: is this worth my time, my energy? Is this worth my time and my money? You all three. And if you're ticking the box on one and not on two, then it's probably a no. But again, that's for you to decide on. Making decisions and taking action. If we're not taking action, then indecision, I promise you, creates worry. And just clearing the decks, of all the things that hang over you. So taking the time to clear those things so you can get on with the other stuff that you really want to be getting with, and sometimes you've got to laser focus. But within all of that, investing one thing you cannot lose on, and that I'm a big believer, investing your time, your energy, and your money in your health, in yourself and in your health. Because without health, all the things that we may necessarily consider that we want to do, aim to do, we won't do.
No.
So you have to look after yourselves.
And be grateful. If you're healthy, just be grateful for that.
Gratitude is very, very important.
And maintain it. And next time, I think we have to wrap it up for tonight, but next time we'll continue. It's kind of related to what we spoke today. It is the difference between success and fulfillment.
Well, we did touch on it slightly. Success and fulfillment.
Yeah, you mentioned those millionaires some of them were depressed, unhappy, broken marriages, and so it's just about what is success, what is fulfillment. We'll continue that conversation probably next Wednesday. Just tune in on Cengiz Facebook or my Facebook.
We'll do a little update to sort of share that when it's going to happen. But,
yeah, and
we hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah, and don't hesitate to ask questions regarding successful fulfillment or about time, energy, and money. So I guess it was helpful for you guys, and thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys, and have a lovely evening. And time, energy, money. Give it some thought. Yeah.
Thank you for your advice.
Bye.
Bye, guys.